This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Boo! And welcome to episode 31 of Cooking with Grief, Halloween special! This is the Fright-tastic comedy podcast where we discuss anything from horrific history to spooky science to necromantic news. I'm Chris, the haunted potato, and as ever, I'm joined by a man who puts the ghoul into ghoulies. It's Spooky Chris. Ooh. That is the right noise to make. Are you feeling suitably Halloweeny, given that... no, Halloweeny, that sounds wrong. Halloween-ish, given that it's the height of August.
Yeah, I am sweating. And that is not the feeling you want when you're pretending that this is a dreary October day. I'm so hot, I've got a heat stroke.
Spooky heat stroke. But not as ever, we're joined by our very first ever guest co-host, the princess of pop culture, the mistress of mythology. She's PC gone mad. From the Pop Culture Mythology podcast, it's Ari.
Hey.
How are you? Are you feeling spooky in wherever you are?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, it's Halloween from June until November, so yes.
Okay, how does that affect your sort of, to use an Americanism, a candy bill?
Not really much of a candy person.
Isn't the whole point that you leave sweets, let's be serious here, outside for kids? We don't really do Halloween here.
Yes, we do.
Not in the same way, they go mad for it.
Yeah, it's more like low-key. And you sort of just awkwardly...
Sort of Norse.
Yeah. I hate you.
Good, that's the small talk successfully done. So, here's how the podcast works. Ari has got two frightening topics for us, and us Chris's have got one each, as is only fair. So, Ari, what's your first Halloween-themed topic for us?
Alright, so my first topic is Chillingham Castle, which is on the border of England and Scotland. It was home to some of the most horrible and prolific torturing in European history, with more than 7,500 Scottish men, women, and children being tortured to death on the premises during the Middle Ages. One-time head torturer John Sage is believed to have murdered upwards of 1,000 people during his 3-ish year tenure there, through various methods, including, but not limited to, Iron Maidens, the rack, rolling them down a hill in a barrel full of nails, branding irons, impalement, and locking them in cages to be eaten alive by starving rats. In fact, don't laugh at that, what the fuck?
Comedy podcast. It's a comedy podcast.
That's true. We're rolling down the hill sounded fun for a second, and then you went in a barrel full of nails. I was like, oh god, no. That's not whimsical at all.
Yeah. Eaten by rats, similarly.
Please continue.
Yeah. Yeah, there was actually so much torture happening that the torture chamber was built with a sloping floor to make it easier for all of the blood to roll away.
That's just sound architecture. Like, morally wrong, but you can't fault them for adapting it to the needs.
Yeah, it's apparently, like, the most haunted place in all of England, which makes sense.
I was actually staying
if you believe
near, I don't know where this castle is, but, like, in the border between, up near the Scottish-English border, in a hotel that was supposed to be haunted, and honestly, it was just kind of shitty. So hopefully this castle isn't just a shitty castle, because that's just disappointing. And would ruin your topics and what. Anyway.
Yeah. I have a part A for this fact. John Sage, that torturer, was later strung up and mutilated to death by the Scots, and they just kept cutting off more parts of him as souvenirs.
Wow. Wait, so this castle was an English castle?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a lot to answer for.
What if you're gonna get a body part as a souvenir? What would you have, both of you?
The nuts.
Oh.
Okay, we're going straight to the nuts. And then would you pickle them in brine, or like they've got to keep somehow?
Well, I am from Pittsburgh, and we are known for our Heinz pickles, so that sounds like a good idea.
Where are you going with that? We're known for our gelding.
Good use of the word gelding.
Thanks very much.
What would I take? I mean, skull's a bit too obvious, isn't it? Like everyone goes for the skull. I say everyone.
Every psychopath.
Yeah.
That's also a lot more work. Like, you need, like, a really big axe or a machete or something. You don't need all that to take the nut.
Depends on the nuts.
No, it doesn't. Nobody has armoured nuts. That I'm aware
This
of.
week on Dragon's Den. Or Shark Tank, I think is the American equivalent.
I think I'd take a spine.
Sorry, the skull was too much effort. You've got to rip out the spine. It takes so much cleaning.
Yeah, that's true. Also, would it stay as one, or would it all fall apart when you get rid of all the meaty bits? I'm not a doctor.
It would fall apart. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
So you can't use it as a whip.
You could probably put a cord in it.
That is true.
For the...
I'm going to have to think about this a bit more.
Why wouldn't you just take, like, a hand?
Says Lady Nuts over there. You can't judge us on our
That's my-
rogue choices.
I've decided my new title in life is going to be Lady Nuts. Thank you.
Doing the Lord's work.
the weird, shifty lord.
Going back to a guy who was like, chief torturer, man. Just imagine that on your CV. What do you do? Well, for 3 years I was the chief torturer. And what skills did you learn? Well, teamwork.
People skills.
People skills, yeah. Working to tight deadlines.
Give us an example of when you, as chief executioner...
Torturer.
Torturer.
Show him some respect.
Yeah, that's true.
Anybody can be an executioner. All you have to do is swing an axe. This takes skill.
Sorry, I don't mean to mean John Sage's work. But when was the last time, give us an example of the time you used initiative. Well, I took off his knuckles one by one. Great.
Once the stretching rack wasn't working, so we tied him between two horses.
Look, I think the barrel full of nails is very clever, okay?
That is.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
And the rats thing.
Oh, the rats thing, that just sounds grim.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Rats as well, like, not even like lions or something that's like...
How many lions can you get in a barrel? That's not like a riddle. Like, what was it? They were put in a barrel full of rats. What was the rats one again?
It was a cage.
Oh.
I know, not as exciting. And they would just dump these people in like a pit, like in this, like below the torture chamber, who were alive. And like, I don't understand, like, why wouldn't you just die? Why would you cling on to life long enough to meet this man? Like, if I saw the English coming, literally in any situation, even now, I would just immediately kill myself.
Well, that is why this podcast is being done over the phone. Not...
I was going to say, it's been lovely having you. I didn't know you. I thought the War of Independence was sort of settled.
Look, I don't know if that war is enough if you're putting people in rat chambers.
A long time ago, we've all grown and developed new skills, such as not feeding people to rats whilst they're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gross is quite a kind way of the idea of the chief torturer looking down and going, ugh, even for me, that's a bit gross. Anyway, what's for lunch? Rats.
The tables have turned.
My favorite part about him is that he was before he was chief torturer, he was a soldier and he just really hated the Scots, so he was literally spent his whole life just killing Scottish people. And then he got injured, and he was like, well, I guess I can't kill them, I better torture them slowly in the castle now.
Again, it's good.
Like, this was his demotion.
Oh, it was a demotion.
I mean, I'm not encouraging anyone to become a torturer, but sometimes...
Cooking with grief, taking the bold stance again.
What are we? We're anti-bullying and anti-being a torturer. But if you find a passion in life and you can, make it work, then
still don't
become a torturer, yeah.
Anyway, if this whole... Well, we'll find out, actually. We're supposed to Brexit, aren't we, on Halloween?
What, you think it's going to go the same way?
Well, no, I was just thinking if the Scots decide to stay, because, whatever, we can... I'm not suggesting we should, but, some people might be like, let's reopen this ye old castle. I'm not advocating it for the record. Again, taking the bold stance. Just saying somebody might.
Right, and shouldn't.
And shouldn't.
And shouldn't.
Do you say the castle's still there?
Yeah, it's a tourist location now.
Oh, wow. Right, let's go on a road trip.
Yeah, I can...
the first Cooking with Grief on site.
Yeah, I'll send you the links later.
Yeah.
Since you're always traveling,
Exactly.
might as
Might as
well.
well. I mean, my job doesn't involve any torture at all, so...
And that's not true. Torture of the soul.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, what's left of it after years in the corporate work.
Yeah, I feel that so hard.
But it's no being eaten by rats.
True.
Just a metaphorical being eaten by rats.
You know, I can't even picture rats doing that. They're so nice.
Are they?
Yeah, I met a lot of nice rats.
Oh, fair enough. I must confess, I've never met any rats, so that was a gross stereotype on my part.
I think if you starve them, they might get slightly vicious.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, that's basically it for my first topic. So, Chris, would you like to go?
Yes, I would, because I've done extensive research. I'm going to talk about a serial killer from America, and I have a feeling, Gary, that you probably know about him already, but I didn't. H.H. Holmes, or H.H. Holmes,
Yes.
depending on how you like to pronounce the letter. You have heard of him?
Of course.
Yes, have you heard of him?
I have not.
Oh, good, at least.
I'm a simpleton.
I think you...
I'll try not to say anything.
Okay, well, feel free to jump in. So, H.H. Holmes, for our...
Idiot.
Yes, for our resident
Co-host.
idiot, but also anybody who doesn't know American serial killers from Victorian times. He was basically an insurance scam artist who decided that, he's done enough scamming and decided to go for the big leagues and built an entire fake hotel. But instead of just being a fake hotel where you rip people off, he, going back to a previous topic, he made it into a massive torture chamber.
Nice, I'm sensing a theme.
Yes. So this was in Chicago in the 1880s. And what it was so that nobody would know that he just obviously built a massive torture chamber. He'd hire one set of builders, get them to build some of it, sack them, get another set of builders, get them to build it, build the next bit, keep sacking them. And then, so basically had a bunch of, it says there were 51 doorways, which when you opened them just went into a brick wall, staircases and rooms that led to nowhere. And then you had sealed soundproof rooms with gas chamber things in there. He really went to town on it. There's obviously a lot of money in insurance scams, and apparently this was the best thing he could think to spend it on. But yeah, so he'd have, he'd soundproof the room, guests would sign in, and then he'd, gas them. This is not a cheery topic. Now I'm saying it out loud.
Whereas before, you were really thinking, this is a light-hearted ramble through history. This will go well for the whimsical comedy podcast. Halloween special.
He also had a room that the only way in was through the ceiling, so he could just chuck bodies and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And he had a basement lab where we would go and dissect folk, as hoteliers are wont to do, I guess. I don't know. Apparently, 200 odd people in there.
Was he caught?
I should have done this research.
He says frantically.
Yes,
scrolling.
he was.
Oh, he was. Good.
Yeah, he was caught for killing, I can't remember if it was his girlfriend or his wife, but that's how they found out.
Okay.
He also used to only do that hotel thing during the Chicago World Fair, because then people wouldn't expect people to be coming back for weeks.
All right, because they're coming in out of town.
Yeah.
Ah.
He was also, at one point, a contender for Jack the Ripper.
Yes, that was going to be my next fact, but yes.
I'm sorry.
No, feel free, because you... That was literally I was going to say. I just want you to know that I did do some research. Yeah, because they thought it was him because he was in London on business or something, wasn't he, around the same time?
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody else had any idea who it was.
But if he's so used to these sort of Saw-esque, big killings, would he just run around London stabbing people?
I don't claim to know.
No, I'm just I have no evidence either way. It just seems like
Not his style,
yeah.
based on what you've
Yeah,
heard.
it doesn't fit.
Thing is, though, with this Jack the Ripper thing, apparently half of them were done in a different style, or maybe not half, I don't know the exact ones, but some of them were done much more spur of the moment, frantic killing
Yeah.
thing, and then some of them they took the time to sit and dissect, so they don't even think Jack the Ripper might be two separate serial killers.
I'm still a firm believer of Jill the Ripper.
Jill the Ripper, oh,
I think it was
go on.
I think it was a woman.
Ooh, why?
Because,
I haven't heard this theory.
so, apparently there were, like, even though a lot of witnesses saw men, it was not uncommon at the time to see, like, midwives covered in blood just walking around. So, a lot of people think it might have been a midwife.
Oh. Weird. I mean, it just seems just like
an official quote from the police employing them. Huh, weird.
Just a weird segue. Like, I mean, like one day you're like delivering babies, and next you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go stab a prostitute.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Apparently so.
Yeah, we've all been there? Question mark? No. I have not.
I have not.
I've never been to Reno.
Yeah. Anyway, back on topic to H.H. Holmes.
Oh yeah.
The reason I know about him is so dumb.
Go on.
So I used to really love Supernatural, the TV show. It sucks. It has sucked since, like, after season 5.
But look, you don't have to defend, like, your pop culture choices. Like, if you
no,
like it,
it's
you
really,
like it.
No, it's one of those shows where it was supposed to end at a certain season, and then they just kept forcing it back to life, despite the fact that nobody was into it.
Oh, like the news.
And yeah.
It jumped the shark ages ago.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did an episode where his murder hotel was haunted or whatever, and he was, like, killing people still from beyond the grave.
Wait.
That's how I know about H.H. Holmes.
Why would his murder hotel still be around? Wait, is his murder hotel still be around? Hope it's
look, it was a show.
Oh.
Okay, it wasn't fact.
Thank you.
Look, on this podcast, I don't know if you've listened or you've got an idea, we deal solely in facts.
Yes, of course.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. No, I just don't get, there's just so much effort. Like, I mean, I've, again, taken a bold stance here. Not really into killing folk. But if I was, yeah, I just don't think I'd put in that much effort. Imagine, just think about the effort it takes to build a fake hotel. He could have made loads of money just building a successful hotel. Maybe. I mean, I don't know what the hotel scene was like in Chicago in 1892, but...
Well, the Chicago World Fair was huge.
Well,
he could have made a ton of money just having it open during that time of year.
See?
And just had one murder room.
Yeah,
just one little sneaky one.
Yeah, you don't need the crazy rooms to nowhere. Oh, speaking of
did a young painter called Escher ever stay there? I've got an idea. Sorry, carry on.
No, isn't it the Winchester family? As in the guns. Over to you, American. So, I'm sure...
The Winchester Mystery House?
Yeah, is that the one where they built it, with loads of fake rooms, but, they thought they were trapping ghosts? Well, just trying to confuse ghosts and stuff.
But apparently she just did it as a hobby, but she kind of sucked at it. That's most likely the real reason her house was that way.
Well, she did what?
There was just the one woman in there.
Wait, so she just built a shitty house?
Yeah, no, she bought a regular house, and then she kept trying to, do additions, and she paid other people to do it, but it wasn't great. She didn't really seem to know what she was doing.
So basically, there's a whole haunted house,
rumor?
Rumor, and cult and stuff around this thing that really is just a shitty episode of Grand Designs. It's an extension, forgot to put in the stairs.
Or is it more like what people did before The Sims? Because when you get The Sims, what you do is you create closed-off rooms where your Sims can't escape, or you get them in the pool and then delete the ladder.
Yes.
But before...
You had to do it
in real life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but she lived there on purpose. By herself. Why would you do that to your own home?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you'd think you'd just move out if you were scared of ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not claiming to know the thought process of somebody who builds a crazy house.
You've said it once.
If there's a motto I live by, it's that I don't...
Do you guys think that room, or that house, has a room with a sloped floor to help the blood get out?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it does seem like he thought ahead. But no, maybe he didn't think of that. And think of all the drainage you'd have to do.
Drainage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's H.H. Holmes. H.H. Holmes. I don't want to get called up by the pronunciation police.
Holmes? Maybe. He was just timid.
Yeah, I don't even know what the H.H. stands for. Howard Hughes Holmes. That sounds legit. No, Herman Oh, what?
Herman Webster.
Herman Webster budget. Oh, well, there we go. Can't even keep his name real. Never trust a man like that. Anyway, that's this topic over.
Okay, so my second topic is actually, it's still creepy, but it's about a saint. There is an unofficial patron saint of death in Mexico that has been condemned by the Catholic Church. Her name is Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte,
Good job you
better
can
known
speak Spanish.
as just Santa Muerte.
We butcher that. Just to say, it's good job you can speak Spanish, because me and Chris would butcher that pronunciation.
Yeah, she's better known as Santa Muerte, and she is a Mexican folk saint and personification of death, who is associated with healing, protection, death, and Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, which for you British people, that is a holiday that occurs on the 1st and 2nd of November.
Death and healing, not sort of contradictory forces.
Let her do what she does, man.
Look, I'm not judging. I'm just questioning whether you might want to have two saints, one of healing, because if you're the patron saint of death, I mean, are you really giving it your all with the healing stuff? It's like, oh, we tried to save them, but another one, cha-ching.
I don't think they get paid per... Oh, maybe they do. So,
I don't know how saints
I don't know
work.
how the same economy works.
They don't have like a side gig on the side, working for Subway.
I only know like two saints. It's this one and St. Patrick. So.
Do you think they're friends?
So you just go for ones with that have big feasts after them, basically. You got St. Patrick's Day, and then you got this... what's this Day of the Dead thing? I mean, I know it's something to do with, like, dead people, obviously, but...
Yeah, it's when the veil between worlds is lower, and so your dead relatives come and visit you.
Oh, that sounds nice if you like them. I mean...
Yeah.
It's a bit always like whenever a family come in, you got to tidy up and, put a spread on and stuff like. Could be a bit of a faff.
Got to put up your altar for your dead grandma. You'd be like that.
Yeah. 1st and 2nd November.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes straight from Halloween into Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
That's good. Means you can do all your, like, otherworldly veil between world stuff in, like, one holiday. I'm just saying, just practicality.
Nice.
Is there a lot
nice
of
long
crossover,
weekend
like,
of it.
Decorations box? And is it purely a Mexican holiday? It's not sort of co-opted in the same way that, say, St. Patrick's Day is?
It is Mexican and Mexican-American only.
Right, okay.
It's not a party holiday. It's like a legit, like, people honoring their dead relatives.
You should probably start making jokes about it then.
Well...
Not quite as, I mean, it's fun, but it's a lot more serious.
Yeah, it sounds more cultural than...
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have more about her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So shut up, guys.
I just
Okay, so Santa Muerte is depicted as a skeleton woman wearing a long robe and holding both a scythe and a globe. Don't really know what the globe is about, but okay.
Oh, yeah, because you're American, so you don't know. The globe shows other countries, like, not just America. It shows the
Is she killing the whole world, though?
No,
like, why does she need it?
Maybe because if it's symbolising the day when the veil between the worlds is thinnest.
Maybe she uses it as a weapon.
Or maybe
That's
she's
true,
a trotter of globes.
I'm gonna kill you. Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, she well-travelled rather than into basketball trick shots.
So yeah, and she got a scythe as well. You notice that death always involves, like, farming implements.
I think they're both supposed to be weapons. That's gonna be my take.
Whack 'em with the globe.
Or maybe
I feel like the scythe would be a much better... Like, I feel like if you use them both as a weapon, I feel like the scythe will do more of the heavy lifting.
Unless
I don't know.
the globe's like a grenade.
Touche.
You can bludgeon people with anything. A globe is fine.
Murder tips.
Is that the message we really want to...
Look, I'm not saying that people should use a globe to bludgeon people, but I'm just saying it's possible.
So what was the origins of this this holiday?
It actually started before the Spanish colonized Latin America, so they have been celebrating this time as a time for honoring their dead since before any Europeans even touched the Americas. So I don't know the exact origins, but it's old.
So how did this saint end up getting on board with this whole shenanigans then?
Some people think that she's just like a new version of an older death spirit. Because there's a lot of folk saints in Latin America that are inspired by
What's a
older...
folk saint?
Folk saints they are not recognized by the Catholic Church. They're just recognized by the people who live there. So the Catholic Church hates this. They really do not like Santa Muerte. So, leading into Fact 2 Part A, Santa Muerte has also become a symbol for the Mexican LGBT community. And the Church of Santa Muerte recognizes and performs same-sex marriages.
That's a curveball I wasn't
gonna
expecting.
say, yeah. Well,
First the Babadook and now him.
Yeah, but she's also really popular with drug cartels.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So
She's got such a diverse portfolio.
Yeah.
So death healing, LGBT rights, and drug cartels.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, she's popular.
Yeah.
That must be good. Wait, so how is it being co-opted by? I mean, alright, I don't know much about drug cartels, but I mean, and maybe they are very equal rights, but I feel like that we're at two opposite ends of the spectrum with LGBT rights and drug cartels.
Pretty sure they came up separately. But so not being an American, or actually just not, I guess even for Americans it's probably not necessarily common knowledge, but there was this really big movement of narco-occultism and narco-satanism at one point, where a lot of drug cartels were worshipping devils and practicing like black magic for protection to try to like keep them and their drugs safe during the trade. And that's probably why Santa Muerte is one of their big folk saints. I think the gay thing is just to spite the church.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think we found our episode title. The gay thing is despite the church.
That's actually the motto of my life.
That's fair. Okay, for my topic, I'm going to start off with a question, as I often do. Have either of you had any supernatural experiences?
No,
Kind
I've
of.
never even watched the show.
Okay, what does kind of mean?
So I went to a haunted jail, as you do as an American.
It's like apple pie.
Yeah. No, you go to a haunted Confederate jail. I felt like I had an experience and I thought I saw a shadow figure, but like I also don't believe in that shit, so don't know.
Okay, well, what...
Did you mean that to be that dismissive?
Sorry. No, I didn't mean to sound dismissive. I was trying to... I saw my introductory sentence and I thought there might be a good segue in there, but I'd have to move it round sort of on the fly. Anyway, people claiming to see ghosts or hallucinations or having feelings of unrest or even sickness in sort of scary situations, like you did in the very American Confederate jail trip, it might all just be down to what's known as infrasound. So sound lower in frequency than 20 Hz or cycles per second. That's what infrasound is. And as hearing becomes gradually less sensitive as frequency decreases, for humans to perceive infrasound, the sound pressure must be sufficiently high. So, when you're perceiving sound but not actually hearing it, it's one explanation for feeling that odd or supernatural things are happening. Especially because our brains will literally hallucinate things to try and rationalise the sound, even though you can't actually hear it. Like, have either of you two been, like, caving?
I have
Yeah.
been underground. Yeah.
And you like, turn out your lights and it's, like, absolute pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
Because your brain thinks it should be able to see stuff because you've got your eyes open but it can't see anything. It'll start, imagining stuff and eventually you'll start to hallucinate. It's the same sort of thing with sound.
Oh, I thought that was just because I was in West Virginia.
Did
I
the
thought...
country road take you home?
I'm gonna kill you guys.
Go on, you're going to have to explain this a bit. So, I mean, I know you just did explain this a bit, but where would you get infrasound from? Like, why would there be infrasound somewhere?
So a lot of things like industrial noises or like old houses, like things like noise of pipes and things like that. Examples of places where you might feel... It's like unnerving anyway because it might be abandoned and scary. But there's also this sort of subliminal thing going on, which is why in like horror films there's so many like it's used as a sort of background noise track to sort of...
Alright, should we edit in some infrasound for the entire duration, just in the background of this podcast?
Please don't.
I don't know. Let's fuck with the listeners.
Yeah,
Both of them.
Yeah.
Look, some of us listen to this at work and would not appreciate that.
You're on it. You've literally been promoted to the highest a listener can be and become part of the main cast. It came about because there was a paper called Ghost in the Machine written by Vic Tandy and Dr. Tony Lawrence, who worked at Coventry University in 1998, the Journal of the Society for Psychiatrical Research. Psychiatrical, a new word for me as well. It's an absolute must-read across words, particularly tricky. And this paper chronicles the times when Tandy was working alone at... working in a lab. That's the start of Monster Mash. He was working alone at night in a laboratory at Warwick Uni and began to hallucinate and see spectral figures. And he discovered that the extractor fan in the lab was emitting a frequency of 18.98 Hz, which is pretty close to the resonant frequency of the human eye. So he theorised that the resonation of his eyeballs caused sort of these optical illusions.
Ew.
Did you know Warwick Uni isn't actually in Warwick?
Not what's something you would take away from that anecdote.
I don't know. Just a fun fact. It's actually in Coventry, but because Coventry has a much less favourable reputation than Warwick, they call it the University of Warwick and just pretend that they're in Warwick even though it should be Coventry. Anyway, spooky sounds.
Spooky academic beef.
Alright, so has anybody put this to use in a haunted house?
I don't know about a haunted house. There was an experiment done where they had orchestras playing the same music on 2 nights, and they piped in this infrasound underneath on one of the nights, and I think there's something like a quarter of the people on the night that they were doing this said that they experienced feelings of sickness, unease, and general frighteniness, even though the music was like in a major key. But films use it. It's sort of like an ambient thing to just make it extra spooky and build tension.
Well, let's get some.
Do you get it by the jar and you sort of let it out near a microphone?
Let's just try to put it back in.
Okay, I'll try and edit some in. Although I won't be able to hear it, so I don't know if it will work or not.
You'll know when you feel nervous.
I mean, my general anxiety is, pretty constant, so I don't know if that will make a difference. It might tip over the edge and I'll just start weeping.
Have you considered that maybe you're nervous because you're hearing these low hertz noises?
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, check the pipes in your house.
Mm-hmm.
You can check your pipes. Don't you come over to mine and mock my pipes.
Check your pipes.
I feel like this is getting a little heated. Ugh.
It's already so warm.
No, it's spooky October. Remember?
Just edit in some thunder and stuff into this episode.
Oh, you said edit, not make thunder noises.
Not beatbox.
Was that a baboon?
Please stop.
It was going to be an owl.
No.
Okay, there you have it. The corpse of a podcast rising from the grave to nibble at your kneecaps. Thank you for joining us in this latest crypt of fiendish facts and devilish diversions. Ari, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed being the first ever, and probably only, because no one else wants to be part of this, co-host with us. Have you had a nice time, and where can people find your podcast?
Yeah, it's been fun, and you can find Pop Culture Mythology on, everywhere that there are podcasts.
Just literally everywhere.
Yeah.
It comes moves Pop Culture Mythology. Just rains Pop Culture Mythology.
And what's your Twitter handle?
At Ari LaMontagne, so ARILamontagne.
Is that the one you use for your podcast?
Yeah. Oh, did you not hear the
okay.
story about what happened with my podcast Twitter?
No.
I told Chris I
yes.
told Chris I was gonna kill him if he sent me any more of those horse pictures, and it got permanently suspended.
You should probably clarify what kind of pictures you were sending.
One of them was the Mantar.
Alright, yeah, the half man, half man.
Oh, well. Also, my favourite thing there was when you said your Twitter handle, you pronounced your name just ever so slightly differently to the way me and Chris have been pronouncing it this entire time. Now it's kind of awkward.
I pronounced it like that in every episode of my podcast.
I know, but I can't use. You got that American like twang of the art. Like say A's.
It's the long A.
Yeah,
the Northerners we can't do it.
Yeah, we say like grass and.
Which is why we've essentially pretending your name's Harry, but then just dropping the H.
You're a wizard, Harry.
It's true.
Yeah, because it's not you're a wizard, Harry. Oh, so spooky. Yes, thank you for listening. I've been Chris.
I've also been Chris.
And I've been Ari.
Not Ari.
Okay, good to know in the final seconds of this podcast.
Yeah, well, enjoy Halloween. Go trick or treat.
Go fuck yourself.
Don't.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Seriously.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not as warm as it currently is. But
I wish you were so far ahead. It's so hot in this flat.
I wish you were mild Halloween.
Have a mild Halloween.
A light breeze.
Cold enough that you could wear a jacket, but not so cold that you have to wear a jacket.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, as ever, nice, succinct.
Smooth and professional, like a
peanut butter covered businessman.
Okay. I'm gonna go an Olympic swimmer.
Where did the businessman get the peanut butter?
He's got disposable income. He's a businessman. He could probably hire, he's got an intern who will slather it for him.
Anyway, that's us signing off.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, fine.
Yeah, thank you, Ari.
Fine.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cooking with Grief. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to recommend it to a friend. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email cookingwithgrief@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter. That's @cookingwithgrief. If you'd like to hear more episodes, then please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you've got the time, then it'd be great if you could leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you.
Stay up to date with the latest in Major League Baseball with the Into the Shift Baseball Podcast. Are you tired of the same old way baseball writers complain about the new changes in the game? Well, this is not the show for you. The Into the Shift Podcast with a modern take on what makes baseball great.
And the ball will be hit into the shift. They get an out, it's only because of that shift. And they do! And that's why you follow the numbers.
Join co-hosts Max Gross and Kyle McAravey for weekly updates every Sunday night, or find us on Twitter at Into the Shift Pod. It's the Into the Shift Baseball Podcast.